WWE Universe, something happened on Monday Night Raw that has completely changed the conversation surrounding Oba Femi and Bron Breakker. What started as another tense confrontation between two young stars quickly turned into one of those moments where you can feel a rivalry becoming personal right in front of you. There was no need for an over-the-top confrontation or anything excessive. The real story was in the words, the expressions, and the way both men carried themselves. Femi walked into the situation with an incredible amount of confidence, while Breakker arrived looking determined to prove that he belongs at the very top of WWE. By the time the segment ended, however, it was Femi who appeared to have gained the psychological advantage. The atmosphere was tense from the beginning, and fans could immediately sense that these two were no longer simply competing for attention. They were competing over who deserves to be viewed as one of the defining stars of the next generation. The shadow of SummerSlam. To understand why this confrontation mattered so much, you have to look at what Oba Femi has accomplished. His rise has been one of the biggest talking points surrounding WWE's younger generation, and his victory over Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam gave that rise an entirely different level of importance. Going into that match, Lesnar represented experience, reputation, and an aura that few performers can match. Femi, meanwhile, represented the new generation trying to establish itself. Coming out of that match with the victory instantly elevated Femi's position. The moment became even more significant when Lesnar showed respect to Femi afterward and later announced his retirement. Whether you view it as the official passing of the torch or simply a major milestone in Femi's career, the message was clear. WWE was presenting him as somebody with enormous potential. That kind of recognition naturally creates pressure, but it also creates competition. When one young superstar suddenly receives that much attention, others who believe they are equally deserving are going to notice. Why Bron Breakker is frustrated? That is where Bron Breakker comes into the picture. Breakker has already established himself as one of WWE's most intense and physically imposing young performers. He has been involved in major matches, championships, and prominent storylines. So he has every reason to believe that he should be part of the conversation about WWE's future. From his perspective, watching another young star suddenly become the center of attention can be frustrating. This is not simply about jealousy, it is about ambition. Breakker wants to prove that he can become one of the company's defining names, and Femi's rapid rise puts another obstacle directly in front of him. Over the past several weeks, their interactions have gradually become more intense, with neither man willing to give the other an inch. Every stare, every exchange, and every challenge has added another layer to the story. What makes the rivalry interesting is that both men have legitimate arguments. Femi has the momentum, while Breakker has already built a reputation for himself. Now they have to determine who can turn that potential into dominance. The question that started everything on Raw, Breakker decided that enough was enough. He stepped into the ring and made it clear that he wanted answers. At the heart of his challenge was one simple question: who is actually the future of WWE? It was a direct challenge to Femi and an attempt to force the issue in front of the entire audience. Breakker was not interested in vague statements or another week of tension. He wanted Femi standing across from him so they could settle the question face to face. But instead of getting the immediate response he expected, Paul Heyman appeared. That instantly changed the atmosphere. Heyman has always been somebody who understands how powerful a few carefully chosen words can be, and rather than simply giving Breakker the answer he wanted, he turned the question back toward him. Who is the future? The question suddenly became much bigger than Breakker expected. For a moment, the entire segment felt like a waiting game, with everyone wondering exactly what would happen next. Paul Heyman changes the situation. Just when the confrontation appeared ready to become even more intense, Heyman stepped in and changed the direction of the entire segment. Instead of allowing the situation to continue without a clear conclusion, he revealed that a match between Femi and Breakker had already been made official for September 6th at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. Suddenly, all of the tension had a destination. Breakker might have wanted to settle the issue immediately, but now there was a scheduled night, a scheduled location, and a match waiting for both men. In a strange way, that announcement made the confrontation even more effective. Neither superstar could simply walk away from the rivalry, and neither could claim that the opportunity was being denied to them. The opportunity was right there in front of them. Now they have to prepare for it. The question is no longer who can talk the biggest game. The question is who can actually deliver when the bell rings. The handshake that got everyone talking. Then came another visual that added an unexpected layer to the story. After announcing the match, Heyman shook Breakker's hand and then extended the same gesture toward Femi. Femi accepted, creating a moment that immediately invited speculation. A handshake can mean many things in professional wrestling. It can represent respect, business, strategy, or simply an acknowledgement that two competitors understand what is coming. But considering Heyman's history with Breakker and his connection to the larger storyline, the moment carried additional weight. Breakker was forced to stand there while Heyman acknowledged both men, leaving fans to wonder exactly where everyone's loyalties now stand. Was it simply professional courtesy, or was Heyman subtly signaling that he sees something special in Femi? WWE has a long history of using small gestures to create bigger questions, and this moment certainly accomplished that. September 6th could change everything. Now the spotlight moves towards September 6th, and the stakes could not be clearer. Femi enters the match with tremendous momentum and the confidence of somebody who believes he has already proven that he belongs at the top. Breakker enters with something equally powerful: motivation. He has been challenged publicly, his position has been questioned, and now he has the opportunity to answer everything in the ring. The most exciting part is that neither man needs to prove that he has potential. They have already shown it. What they need to prove is who can handle the pressure when the expectations become enormous. This rivalry has quickly developed from a debate about the future into a personal competition for recognition. Femi wants to show that his rise is legitimate and that his biggest victories are only the beginning. Breakker wants to remind everyone that he was never going to quietly step aside for anyone. When these two finally meet, fans may not simply be watching another match. They may be watching the beginning of a rivalry that could define WWE's next generation.